Things just keep getting crazier for the 2-15 New Orleans Pelicans as they get ready for the Chicago Bulls tonight. The injury report is getting longer. And could this team be moving on from Zion Williamson due to his reduced playing time? We're going to talk about it all inside this edition of Pelicans Digest. What's good with it, y'all? It's your people, Melz on the MIC. Back once again inside Pelicans Digest. Hope you had a great weekend as we get back into the swing of things inside of another week. And thank you so much for subscribing, man. The subscribers keep going up even though the team is going down. We appreciate you for checking in with us for the best analysis, opinions, and more about the New Orleans Pelicans right here on the fastest growing Pelicans community out here on these internets. It's Pelicans Digest. It's Melz talking about those Pels. And real quick, I want to say thank you to everybody for the birthday wishes on Friday. Treated myself to the Dallas game, went to the Dallas game, and was happy. I mean, I was having a great birthday up until halftime. Having a great birthday until halftime. And then as almost the third quarter comes in, Pelicans melt down, as always, which has always been the story of this team this season. I had tickets to the game the next night in New Orleans against the Hawks, but I couldn't make the turnaround trip quick enough, so I just gave those tickets to my brothers. Also knew that Zion was going to get held out of that game, was correct in that assessment and that analysis, knew that this team was going to struggle offensively, knew that Dyson Daniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker had it on their mind going into this game, because now what you're starting to witness with this team is former players are making it a note to come into New Orleans and beat the brakes off the Pelicans. Whether it's Najee Marshall, whether it's Nickeil Alexander-Walker, whether it's Dyson Daniels, it don't matter. It seems like these guys will find a way to stick it to the Pelicans every chance that they get. And what you're also starting to witness is teams saying to themselves, they're not going to lose to you. That is what's happening right now with the Pelicans. That's the only way I can explain what is going on with this team right now, is they'll jump out into these big leads up by 15 at halftime against Dallas, had a small lead against Atlanta for a short time, and then these teams ratchet up their defensive intensity, ratchet up their offensive intensity, and the Pelicans don't match it. And next thing you know, because these teams are starting to say, we're not going to lose to you. You guys are trash. We're not going to lose to you. And that's something, and that's a bigger issue inside that organization that they need to address, especially when you consider Joe Dumars sold us on this whole, we're going to be competitive every night stuff. They'll be competitive for a few minutes, and then they're going to fold, which brings us to tonight. You're going up against the Chicago Bulls team that is pretty decent, pretty good, and your injury report has gotten a whole lot longer, unfortunately. Jordan Hawkins, Herb Jones, Jordan Poole, as you know, is going to miss his 11th game in a row. But now you got Herb Jones out. And now there's starting to be fears and worries that his injury could be an extended period amount of time. Jordan Hawkins is apparently out for personal reasons, didn't reveal why. He scored 11 in the game against Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, but he's now out. So now, and you also still got Makovic out. Zion is expected to play in the game tonight, but there's something a greater issue I think going on with this organization with Zion Williamson right now, and I think, and I say this before the season, I think this, especially now with him dealing with these injuries, is coming to pass right now that this team is preparing to move on without Zion Williamson. This team is now going into rookie mode, and there's some evidence of that. And it goes back to not the Atlanta game, because, of course, he didn't play, but to the Dallas game. Came across an article on Sports Illustrated. On Sports Illustrated over the weekend, which says that the loss to the Mavs proved that the Pelicans are no longer Zion Williamson's team. There could be some truth to that. There could be some truth to that, especially given what we saw and I saw that night in Dallas. And, you know, a lot of people got mad at me because I said in the comments at the game, because I was there watching the game live, that Cooper Flagg heard all that disrespect about Derek Queen and got busy. Got busy on Queen. And Queen was letting him go by a lot of those drives. But there was something telling about the final minutes of the game against Dallas that may prove that this is not Zion Williamson's team anymore, and this team is preparing to move on. According to Sports Illustrated, in the last 5 minutes of the game against Dallas, everything ran through Derek Queen. Williamson only took 2 field goals in that span. Despite his impressive and one with 2 minutes left in the game and scoring 2 more from the charity stripe after stealing the ball from Najee Marshall and going out in transition in the ensuing possession, Queen and Murphy, on the other hand, took 9 shots in total in the last 5 minutes. A lot of them were BS threes from what I saw. But Zion was more on the, and let me say this, because like I said, I was at that game. I watched it. Zion was more on attacking and trying to get into the foul and try to get to the line. But still wasn't making all these free throws for all these attempts that he was getting up there doing and taking. But more telling in that game was what happened in the final possession. The most telling of all, however, was the fact that Williamson was not on the court in the final 10 seconds of the game when the Pelicans had the ball. New Orleans was down with 10 seconds left and needed a 3 to tie the game. James Borrego subbed in Jordan Hawkins for Williamson for the final offensive possession of the game. On paper, bringing in an extra shooter in that situation makes sense. That shooter coming in for Williamson, however, is very surprising. Teams rarely take their superstar out in clutch situations, and the Pelicans had Herb Jones on the floor for that possession. Is he really a better offensive weapon to have on the court than Williamson? and I kind of said that too when I was watching it live. Like, okay, why are we sending Zion to the bench? I get it. We need a 3. We need a 3. That's not mentioned to the fact that we got in this predicament, but let's not forget, we got into this predicament because Zion Williamson let Najee Marshall shoot an uncontested 3 in his face, which gave Dallas the lead late in that game. He just stood there and just walked towards him like this. He just put his hand up and walked towards him. Didn't even try to jump, contest the shot, do nothing. And Najee sank that 3, and it was a wrap after that. Here's my thing, though. Here's why I get, I kind of disagree with this, because according to Sports Illustrated, this is no longer Zion Williamson's team. The Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen era is here, and we may remember this Dallas game as the official start of it. Here's why I kind of disagree with that at. The Atlanta game showed you the next night in Atlanta that this team cannot run an offense without Zion Williamson on the floor. It just can't. And that's why I say I kind of don't, I see it, but I don't see it. If you're James Borrego and the Pelicans, yes, you have to prepare to run an offense without Zion Williamson. But teams are hip to this now, and they know with Zion Williamson off the floor, they can defend better and shut you down better. So, and in most of the games so far we've seen with Zion and Queen working together, it works. The pattern works. So, and you still need them on the floor so the defense can have one more person to key in on and worry about. So that's why I kind of disagree with that. Even though I know at this point a lot of folks are assessing Zion's trade value, but at the same time, this team, it can't offensively. It just can't run without Zion Williamson. We seen that in the Atlanta game. It was still more of that above the 3-point. Oh, we're just going to run above the 3-point line offense because we can't figure out how to get the ball in the paint. So it's been a whole lot of that, and it's going to continue to be more of that unless they figure out how to get the most out of players like Saddiq Bey. Sorry about that, Saddiq Bey. And the reason why I say Saddiq Bey is because Saddiq Bey has been the one struggling. Saddiq has been struggling coming off the bench. He has been really struggling coming off the bench. But in the game against Atlanta, he put up a double-double as a starter. So if Saddiq Bey could cut back on those threes and get in there and get it in and get busy like he did against Atlanta, I think this offense may be able to run better. But as long as they continue to run this, go stand behind the 3-point line and just wait, we're never going to get anywhere. And teams are now hip to shutting down Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy is out here getting a very hard and unethical 20-something a night. Let's be real here. Trey is driving into the lane, getting the ball knocked away from him. Defenses are keying in, knowing he can't handle the ball very well. So defenses are keying in on him. And even when he drives it to the hoop, he's not getting foul calls. Same with Queen. So I think in this particular game tonight especially, you're going to have to rely heavily on Saddiq Bey and Queen working together. And Zion's going to be there as well. But I think with Saddiq Bey and her being out, you're going to have to put Saddiq Bey in there. And let's not run. Saddiq Bey is not a trash defender. He's an aggressive defender. But at the same time, Herb hasn't been contributing anything offensively. Hawkins minutes. Again, the same thing, splashing in with these points. But at the end of the day, I think this is probably going to be the first night you start seeing this team totally transition towards its rookies. Don't let them mess around and win. Don't let them mess around and win this game tonight against Chicago. And you got most of the rookie class going in there, including Peavy. I think Peavy's going to see his minutes go up with Hawkins being out. Don't be surprised if this team wins tonight. You begin to see this becoming the rookies team. Don't be surprised. Do not be surprised if you see it's going to start being Peavy, Queen, and Fears. It's already Fears and Queen's team. All weekend long my timeline has been nothing but Derek Queen mixtape highlights. Which is great to see in this age, which is, a fantastic thing if you are what these kids are nowadays. These kids aren't fans of teams. These kids are fans of players, individual players. So in this particular day and age, if you're a fan of one player, it benefits you. But I'm a fan of a team, and my team is still not winning. Okay? I'm a fan of the team first, the entire franchise, the team. And they're not winning still, despite all this wonderful mixtape highlight stuff. So, I really do think that the transition is that Dallas game may have been showing us the start of the transition out of the Zion Williamson era and into the rookies era. I could be wrong, though. What are your thoughts, though? Don't let the Pels mess around and win tonight with these rookies. I'm just saying, if they do, which I doubt, but if they do, the trade Zion calls is going to get louder and louder and louder. But as of right now, I continue to argue that it's going to be hard because at the end of the day, your offense still runs better through Zion Williamson. The defense is still the problem with this team. What are your thoughts, though? Clap back with your thoughts in the comments right here on Pelicans Digest. Do you think the Zion Williamson era is over? Do you think that we have seen the beginning of the end of the Zion Williamson era? And are you ready to commit fully to the rookies and let them go get busy and get developed right now instead of trying to continue to try to win now? What are your thoughts as we enter game 18 of the season for the Pelicans at 2-15? What are your thoughts, though? Clap back in the comments. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for checking in with us here on Pelicans Digest. It's Melz talking about those Pels. I'll holler at you.